Hey listener, welcome to 1000 Routes. I'm your host, Nick Bennett. In each episode, we explore the uncommon paths of solopreneurs who have bet on themselves and the reality of what it takes to build a business that serves your life. Enjoy the episode.
My name is Lashay and I run bottom of funnel content strategies for B2B SaaS companies.
Bingo. Lashay Lewis, where did you come from? You are unique in this whole game.
Where do I come from? So from 14 years of struggle, to be honest with you.
This is what I wanted to talk about, because you're really vocal about how you are in a position in your life now that you didn't think you'd be in. You talk a lot about, you have 4 kids too, which is, I have 2 kids and it's fucking crazy. So 4 kids sounds bananas. But you talk a lot about how you were able to move and buy this new house, and your life looks a lot different than I think it seems like you thought it would be. So I'd like to start with well, what did you think your life would be? And why is this so different from that?
So I've always been very ambitious. So I thought my life, it's weird. It's almost like I knew my life was going to be like this, but at the same time I didn't, and I always tell people, you have to be some level of delusional to even want to do this shit. So a part of me was like, okay, I believe I can have that life. A long time I didn't feel like I deserved it, but I was like, you know what? I feel like I can get there. And that was maybe at 15, 16. I was very self-aware that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Not even that I wanted to be, well, yeah. But more importantly, that I didn't want to live a life that I seen everybody else living, with the 9 to 5 thing. And don't get me wrong, 9 to 5 has its place, especially if you work for a dope organization. But it's with me, I just seen something different. I was just no, I love my autonomy. I want to start traveling more. I've been able to move around a little bit, but nothing to the magnitude that I've seen others do. And I'm just I see more for myself than my surroundings, because I grew up in Baltimore, so it was there wasn't a ton of motivation around me. It was very abandoned houses, drugs, it was bad. So I didn't have a ton of motivation around me in regards to that. So a lot of the motivation that I have and had was just came from me, right? Just looking at other people that wasn't in my circumstances and being okay, what do I need to do in order to obtain that? Now, if I knew how hard it was to do it, I probably wouldn't have done it. And I do think there's some sort of blessing tied into not knowing how long it's going to take to get something. Because I think if people knew how long it would take to get it, they wouldn't even try to do it. So yeah, that's it. And again, just seeing other people and what they have and what they're able to come, what makes me any different? You know what I mean? Why can't I have those things? So that's where the initial thought sprouted. And then at 15, I was building websites and stuff like that. That was just me dipping my toes in the water. That wasn't super serious, but that's where it started. Yeah.
The why not me? I think that's the whole mentality, is why not me? And especially the way you describe growing up and not being around a lot of motivation. I mean, that rewires your mental scaffolding in terms of just what's possible. And a lot of us just are monkey see, monkey do.
Mm-hmm.
And you see people, if people around you are doing the 9 to 5 thing, the odds of you being an entrepreneur are very low. If you see people doing it, you tend to just kind of gravitate in that direction. Just is what it is.
Yep.
But I agree with what you said too. So you got to be a bit delusional. I always tell people, it's you don't have to be crazy to do this work, but it helps.
Yeah. You definitely have to have some sort of mental instability, because
you got to do well in the unknown.
Yes.
It just helps. You got to, if you want everything planned out real well, you're in for it.
But you know what? That's one thing that held me back for a long time too. Obsessing over the how, like feeling security and having like things put together, like a plan. I'm like, I need to be able to put this together, but it's like that held me back for so long. So maybe at some point we could touch on that a little bit because that's so important. And it's like, it's just something that held me back and kept me in the same spot for 10 years.
Yeah, let's talk about that right now. I mean, there's the stability of direct deposit, the golden handcuffs, right? Leaving your job is, you see people do it and you're ultra inspired by it. And then you think like, how am I, like, what do I actually do? How do you get a client? And the first time you close a client, it totally rewires your brain and you're like, oh shit, there's no limit here. You could just make money up here the second you realize that you can go out and get some and go get a client or sell something on the internet. So like, what was the turning point for you?
Yeah, that's what it was for me, being able to sell something on the internet. So I was so fascinated at the fact that I could think about something and go build it and I would get paid from it. You know what I mean? So like,
What did you build? What were those first things that you sold? Even as a kid, you said building the websites at 15.
yeah. So Amazon affiliate websites. So any affiliate
Really?
market.
I was not expecting that at all.
Like, see, because all my OG affiliate marketers know, like back in the day, the Amazon affiliate program was hot shit, you know? So it was like, okay, how can I do this? So first of all, it didn't directly start. I'm taking you way back in my archives. It didn't necessarily exactly start with the affiliate websites, but that was like right after. The thing that it started with, God, and I'm like showing my age right now, was me writing on e-zine articles. I had got a check in the mail because I was a part of this thing called MCA. It was like some sort of automobile type of insurance or something. And I was an affiliate for them. And I wrote these e-zine articles and I got a check in the mail for $75. And I was like, holy shit, you know, like that singular moment like rewired my whole brain. And I was like, you know what? I can do this. And then, oh my God, I'm taking you so far back. And then the thing right after that I did was utilizing YouTube, right? So I had went on Fiverr and I had got these guys to record 2 videos about a male enhancement product. It's called Bathmate. And they recorded these videos and I put them up on YouTube, and I shit you not, like I was making, this is another thing that rewired my brain too. I was making maybe like $800 a month for 2 years straight off of 2 YouTube videos. One has like close to 1 million views and the other one has like maybe like 750,000, something like that.
And just affiliate links in the description?
Yes. I was like Bathmate's top affiliate. Like, who knew you could make money off of men's insecurities?
A lot of people apparently.
But like, I was like one of their top affiliates, and in that put in my brain, like, that was just another rewiring. And mind you, to figure out how to do that, I was investing in coaching. So I was paying this guy like $2,500 a month. God knows, I don't know where I got it from because I was broke as shit during that time, but I always managed to figure things out in regard to that. But I was paying him this money and he was teaching me how to go do this thing. He said, go on Fiverr, pay somebody to do the review, put it up on YouTube. And then and it's like, again, that was a rewiring in my brain because I'm like, okay, I don't have to be tied to the computer to make money. You know what I mean? Like I would put the video up and the video would continuously make money over and over every single month.
Does it still make money for you?
It stopped some years back. When I tell you that thing was like every month gone, it's crazy. It was crazy. So from there, maybe like a year or two from there is when I started getting into like the actual building of affiliate websites and tying Amazon links into them and started making money from that. No, it wasn't enough to like actually live on, but the fact that I could go into my dashboard and see like the little uptick of, oh, you know, you got traffic. Oh, today you got a sale. You got a sale this day, to where it started to, I would get sales every single day. My brain has been rewired for a long time now, but it goes through different rewirings, if that makes sense.
But from there, I mean, you're still working full time. And while this has
No,
happened, oh no, this is
no.
full time.
Yes. So, okay. At the time, I was at home with the kids and my husband was the one working. And the reason that we came up with this arrangement was because he's like, I want you to focus and study whatever you're doing right now, because I believe that you can take us out of what it is that we're in. You know what I mean? So he let me fully dive in on that stuff while he went to work and had to suffer and deal with all that shit he had to deal with. I was deep in it. You know what I mean? In between watching the kids and taking care of them, like I was deep in the shit. Like, yeah.
That's amazing to have someone who's like, like he saw the potential in what you were doing super early on. How many kids did you have at the time that you were doing this?
I only had two at the time, my two oldest, which are 11 and 12. So I only had two kids at the time. They were very young and he made enough money for us to be able to like at least live on. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we had a ton left over after bills and food and all that, but it was like enough. So after we moved out of my mother's house, we got our own stuff. We were on like subsidized living a little bit. So it's like we didn't have to, you know what I mean? Like things were a little bit lower for us. And it was like that was such a blessing too, because that allowed me the mental bandwidth to be able to like dive into the stuff. Cause I'm like, I'm not staying on this shit forever. And this is a whole nother conversation, but I think the trap with like government assistance and stuff like that is designed to make you comfortable. You know what I mean? It mentally puts you in a box. While I had to be in that box for a little while, I did not let that box define me. I used that box to step up on instead of being contained in. You know what I mean? So it was like from there, and this just happened maybe like a couple years, maybe like, yeah, 2 or 3 years back is like, mind you, a bunch of twist and turn in between, but 2 years back is when I got that like major breakthrough where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting kicked off of everything that I'm on, anything. I can't do government. I'm making too much money. You know what I mean? And that's why I always say like the importance of having like a supportive partner is just not enough people talk about it. But if it was not for him giving me that space to be able to dive into this stuff, I can for sure say we wouldn't be where we are. Yeah.
That's amazing. And like my wife works, I say my wife works for our boys full time, like she's full-time mom. And that is a lot of work. Our boys are 3 and 1. So it's like a ton of work watching this happen as I do this business. And just hear you talk about how you had 2 young kids and you're trying to figure this thing out at the same time. So like I definitely have a slight concept for what that was in terms of just the amount of the mental, like there's not a lot of mental bandwidth after taking care of 2 small children every single day, and to also figure out how to build this other thing. So ton of appreciation and respect for the ambition there. What I think is interesting, and I see this idea, like you talked about, Ken, when you're on the assistance, like you can feel trapped there because things aren't that it's good enough type of thing. I see a similar thing happen with a lot of solos where they earn just enough as a solo to get by, and they're not unhappy, but they are not super happy either. And it's like their back's not against the wall. Things are just good enough. They're not painful enough for them to work super hard to get out of the situation that they're in. I'm not attempting to understand it, but what I'm saying is like, I think there's something to be said just as human nature is like when things aren't that bad, when they're just good enough, it changes the way that you operate and the things that you'll go for, the things you don't do. And I think it extends into tons of different areas of your life. So how did you go from YouTube affiliate, Amazon affiliate marketing, doing all this stuff to becoming the BOFU queen? Like what was the turning point there? When, like I see that you've held content marketing roles, like how did you end up getting into marketing, kind of figuring that side of your life out?
Jumping from the affiliate stuff, I started doing SEO for local businesses. And this is when I got deeper into, it was back and forth a little bit because the affiliate stuff helped me do SEO on more of a global scale where locality is more with like the local businesses and stuff. But that taught me how to get on the phone and sell to people. So I was a brilliant marketer, but a terrible salesperson. I undersold myself quite a bit. Still do sometimes, I feel like.
I think we all do, just for what it's worth.
Totally. Yeah. I think, no, 100%. I think a lot of us are guilty of underselling ourselves, but I think just that period helped me be able to like bust through any, like, not necessarily like eliminate the introvertness, but like help me be able to deal with it and still be able to sell.
There's a limiting belief there.
Yes. That I can't get the money that I want out of this person. It was so bad for me that I had to be able to work around that limiting belief. So what I would do is I would build the website, rank it, and then it would start generating calls. Like I had a towing website and it was generating.
Oh my God.
I know. Man, it was generating 400 calls a month. And I was like, I don't have a tow truck. I don't have anything. So I was calling up businesses and was like, hey, I got this website. Do you want the leads? I had a little tracker on it so I could listen to the calls and see what they closed. And I was charging this guy like $400 a month. And I remember at a certain point, he was like, hey, can I just buy this from you? And I was like, yeah. And I don't know where the $3,000 number came from, but that's what we landed on. And he went and pulled some money out his 401k to give me $3,000 for that website. And that was the first time I had got a check of that amount. And that rewired my brain. So again, multiple brain rewirings as I'm going through this process. And I'm like, oh my God,
That guy got a great deal on that website. He made so much money off of those leads. I bet. That's crazy.
I undersold the shit out of that website. But what I did is, and then I had another one, a Miami roofing website that was generating leads. That was even worse. That one was sold for like $800, $1,200. Really undercutting myself, like bad.
Dude, a roof is like 20, 30 grand, 40, depending on the house, especially in Miami.
And I was ranking in these major cities like Baltimore towing, Miami roofing, so it was like,
dang, this is crazy.
Yeah, but that's why I say like the whole underselling yourself type of thing, where I was like, I get it. So like from there, I worked across agencies and different stuff like that. And then I started getting into B2B and I was like, ew, like I hate B2B. I hate software. It's boring. It's confusing. I don't want to do this because I come from an e-commerce background. So all that Amazon affiliate stuff was like e-com. It wasn't, SaaS. But then I started taking a liking to it because I'm like, okay, this is challenging. And I'm like, okay, so fast forward a little bit more. I really wanted to work for this agency, but I did not make the cut because I didn't know how to write bottom of funnel content the right way. And mind you, that was my first time. I know, it was fucking terrible. Like, when I tell you that fucked me up so bad, where I was like, I am never going to lose another opportunity because I didn't know enough. And I don't want anybody else to lose an opportunity because they didn't know enough. So me not getting that opportunity rewired my brain again, but from a trauma standpoint, not from ooh, I just hit a new level. Like that shit was so traumatic for me where I was just like, you know what, fuck this. And then from there, that's when the content dashboard was born. And it took me like a year to put that thing together. And then after I put it together, I got on LinkedIn, gave it away for free. That's what blew my email list up, So it was like, my brain has been rewired through successes and traumas, both. But the trauma one, that one was the one that really like changed the trajectory of everything for me. Yeah.
The BOFU is the villain the whole time in your story. This is crazy. I thought like the BOFU of all like this is incredible. This is what I was talking about before too, is like when things get to a point where you're like, you feel like your back's against the wall, you don't get the job. I imagine that in these situations that you're like, I'm really close, like in your heart, you're like, this job is mine. And you don't get that job. And it's a massive blow to not only like your person and your ego, but also like your household. You're like, we were banking on this thing. Like this fire is lit to like master the BOFU because of that experience. So you went out, you learned, how did you do that? What did you do? First of all, put me in the time. Like, what year is this? When is this happening?
This was 2021. So not that long ago. Yeah.
Yeah, no, not at all. 2021. But you've been working for yourself this whole time, doing different things. I want to make sure I got this right. You've been building these sites, selling these sites. It's mostly like a B2C type of thing. It's traffic based. You're selling leads and traffic, which is crazy in itself. And then you decide you're going to try and get this job. This job doesn't work out around 2021 because of this made up gap, like this made up type of content that they were like, you don't know how to write this thing. And you're like, fuck that. I will master this thing.
Yeah. Luckily, I was fortunate enough to have one of the co-founders really take me under his wing and really break things down for me. But even then, it still wasn't.
That agency that didn't give you the job, one of the co-founders became a mentor.
Yes.
How'd you pull that off?
I couldn't have asked for anything better than that. Because when I didn't get the job, we got on a call and he was like, what is it that you want? He was like, because, basically I can see you're hungry, but like, what is it that you want? And I'm like, at the time being young and ambitious, I'm like, well, I want to make $100,000 a month like y'all do. And he was just like, do you need that? And I'm like, well, no. And then I was like, got a little bit more realistic. I'm like, around 30 would be good. That would be good, cool. So he from there, he just was like taking me under his wing. He has like a PhD in engineering. Like the guy is brilliant. And his editing style is very like cutthroat. Like he does not fuck around when it comes to editing, but I needed somebody like that because now, but again, despite all of that stuff, the way they taught it was not very like digestible for me. I tried my best and it was a couple things in their agency process that I was like, you know what? If I did something like that, but made it better, that would probably be good. Cause I wasn't there long. I was there for like a month or two. I did maybe like 2 or 3 pieces for them, 2 or 3 like pieces of content, but that shit was enough to rewire my brain again. And I'm like, you know what? If I could change some things about this, I could probably not make the process better, but make it mine. So again, that's where the dashboard came from, because one of the things that I felt like they didn't do the best was like have all the information consolidated that I needed. Because up until that point, I was taught to go to Google, type in the target keyword, find this top 10 search results, mash the shit together, and that's your article. But they had a totally different way of doing it where they're like, no, we need to interview people around the company in order to figure out what the company does. And I'm like, okay, but do we have to hold an interview for every piece? Like me just questioning everything. So from there, I'm like, okay, I made this dashboard where everything can be consolidated. Because I'm like, if they would have had this for me, I probably would have got that job. And I'm just like, okay, even then, I'm like, okay, these pieces are really long and difficult to write. How can I break this down more modularly? And then I started thinking about, so this was once I was already on LinkedIn, I seen Fletch, and I noticed how, and I guess for context, for anybody that doesn't know Fletch, Rob Kaminsky and Anthony Pieri, they break their stuff down visually, and they would teach product marketing visually. I'm like, damn, like this is so smart. Like, I love this. What if I did this, but for content marketing? And then I started doing that for content marketing, and then shit just started to blow up from there. And I'm just like, okay, oh my God, it's a lot that happened from there. But I started getting wrapped up with them. And then I just started productizing more and more and more until I couldn't productize anymore. We can probably talk about this too, but I productized myself right into a product by accident. But yeah, like that's
like a literal technology product.
That's what that was like. It's just a series of events, and one traumatic one that was like, yeah, I'm never going to feel like this again. Cause I was crying. Like I was fucked up. And I'm like, I am never going to feel like this again. Not by the hands of me not knowing enough. And I don't ever want anybody else to feel like this because they didn't know enough. So that's why I'm like, I want to be the category leader in bottom of funnel. I want to be able to teach people this nuanced, difficult thing and break it down to the most core components that you can break it down to.
What do you think this guy saw in you to have that conversation with you? Like, I would imagine he probably doesn't do this with everybody.
Right.
In order to invest the time in you and to show you this stuff, like what do you think he saw in you?
That's a great question. Probably that I was hungry, right? Like, I think he's seen that because I had purchased their course and was in it for a year. I showed up to all the Q&As. I asked questions. And at some point he reached out to me and was like, hey, would you want to, work with us? Mind you, this is fresh after baby number 4. I'm like in the hospital bed, like, oh, yeah, I would love to. So I'm like, all right. But I think he's seen I was hungry though. And I think that's a twofold thing, because somebody that's as hungry as I am, and I don't mean this in like a malicious way, but those are the people you have to watch out for, because those are the people that will, I don't want to say be bigger than you in their space, because I'm not saying I'm bigger than them. Like, they taught me, you know what I'm saying? I'm always going to pay that homage to them. But it's like, I'm just a little bit more well-known in the space. You know what I mean? So it's like, I do see how that could be twofold for somebody, but I think he's seen I was hungry though. Yeah, he knew I was dead serious, but he knew the skills just wasn't there, and where they were at with their agency, he didn't have the time to like baby me up into it, but he took as much time as he could out and just mentored me with anything I needed help with, until I was like, you know what, this is cool, but like, let me break this down in a way that I can understand. And then I just started talking about that shit publicly. And that's when things started to kind of change from there.
This idea of like going from like a borrowed to bespoke, I think that's where all of us start and end up. Like, for you to learn a framework and say, I see it differently, and then you evolve it into your own system and framework and playbook or whatever. That's the process, right? This process of iteration and refinement that you went through is the process that I think all of us go through. And I don't think enough people talk about it. They're like, look, this is a brand new framework. Like, it doesn't have to be brand new. It actually can just be a thing that you learned, and then you saw an opportunity or a way to make it your own, or in more effective as you see it, easier for you to teach it, so on and so on. I think that's an incredibly powerful approach that either people try to sidestep because they want something that's completely bespoke and it just slows them down, or it's like, it's just, you don't need to go through that. But also what you said is that you were in their program for a year. Like, showing up really is half the battle in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah. Like, that's literally how you set yourself apart from everybody else. And I do what I call, and now I'm giving away the secrets, but I do what I call the poster boy formula. So like, every course, every program, every coaching, whatever I'm a part of, I always want to make sure that I'm the best at that thing. So ask anybody that has coached me, or anybody that I've trained with, or anybody, you know what I mean? Like, I'm always like, I want to be the best student that you have. And honestly, going into engagements and coaching and things with that mentality will put you above everybody else. Because typically when people come into those type of engagements, they're thinking like, okay, I just want to learn what I can learn and do my thing. But if you make it your mission to be the best student that person has had, oh, that's my secret. Like, every day of the week, that has gotten me so many opportunities on so many different people's radars, because I'm always the best student that somebody has had. Yeah. Student, client, whatever.
What is your motivation to, like, there's being the best is not everybody has that much drive or that much motivation to do that. You see the back end ability, like the long term, the ripple effect of that. What's your motivation for that?
It's tough to put a finger on it, because some of it may have to do with insecurity behind how I've been treated in the past, like I wasn't enough. So that could be a part of it. Another part of it is that I've been through too much shit not to be the best. Like, I might as well go all the way with it now. You know what I mean? Like,
if you're not first, you're last.
Right. For real. Like, I done already been through the hard shit now. Now I might as well take it all the way. At least to me, it'll make all that stuff I went through, like all the mental stuff. It wasn't even like everything was mental. Like, all that stuff I had to go through makes it worth it. You know what I mean? And being the best doesn't mean beating everybody else. It just means being the best you. What does the best you look like? Like, how much money does the best you make? Like, how does the best you show up to calls? How does the best you build your company and do your work? And, so it's like just having that chip on my shoulder, to be honest with you. And that's a lot of people's cases where it's like, oh, where did you get your start? Because somebody told me I couldn't do something and I wanted to prove them wrong. That's because my family really didn't believe in what I was doing either. If I'm keeping it real, like when I started making money, they're like, oh yeah, Shay does something with computers. They always knew I was smart with computers, but it was like they couldn't wrap their brain around what it was that I was doing. Cause back when I was showing them what I was doing MLMs and shit, so it was like, that's what they carried in their head about me for a very long time. But only as of recently, it's like, oh, what she is doing. And I'm like, I'm not trying to say I'm the family star, but you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like somebody tell you can't do some shit and you know what? Fuck you. And then you just go do it, So it's like, it's that mixed with probably some insecurity too, if I'm being like totally honest. Sometimes I feel like being the best helps me compensate for me not feeling like I'm the best or me feeling inadequate. So it probably is a little bit of both, I'd say. I would say don't let the inadequacy take over too much because it's erosion, right? It'll work in the beginning, but then it starts to cannibalize itself and you get tired. And, so you can use that as motivation initially, but don't let that continue to be the driving force. And I say that as somebody with an innate great ability to be able to take something that pisses me off and turn it into progress. Like that's just something I'm amazing at, but you cannot continue to latch onto that. It's not sustainable. It's great to get you up and running, but you just can't continue to like live that way.
I appreciate this very much because the way that you approach, especially this thing about like they rejected you because you didn't understand the BOFU thing in the way that they wanted. I lost a deal really early on in my own, like when I first started, I lost a deal with someone who said, he was like, Nick, I really love this point of view. I love what you're doing. I think you can really help me. But there's just not enough like proof for me. It feels a little too risky. And so like, I'm not going to do it. But like, I want you to know that like, that's the reason why I'm not doing this. But like, I do believe in what you're doing. And I was like, that fucking hurt so bad. And I had this vendetta and I was like, I will never lose a deal again because there's not enough proof that what I do is helpful for people or what I do works. So it's like a similar thing. It's like this fear of losing something or this loss is like, it lights a fire in you. And it's like, I try to assemble as much overwhelming proof as possible in the same way that you're like, I have to master this thing because I will never lose a deal. I will never lose another opportunity in my life because something this seems so trivial, so stupid in this moment. You're like, I would never again.
I think something even more personal is like my husband and my kids got to see me at my worst a lot of times when business wasn't working right. And it felt like I was in this continuous loop to the point where I'm like, am I going fucking crazy? Like I could have swore I was in this situation 3 years ago. Like, am I legit losing my fucking mind? Like they've been around all that. They've got to see all that. So I think if they've seen me at my worst, they also deserve to see me at my very best. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's the foundation of that motivation. But if you just pile extra trauma and shit on top of it, yes, people telling me I can't do it, family not believing in me, friends making fun of me. Cause I told you I had this shit ambitious young in high school, in middle school, cause they just didn't understand. So it's like, yeah, it definitely runs deep for sure. It's more than what I put on LinkedIn, what people see. I try to be as vulnerable as I can because I want people to know like, it's okay. We've all been through some shit. You can still get through it, but no, like it's very layered. The motivation is very layered. Yeah.
Well, just hearing you talk about all of the different things that you've had to do to build this business, all the different things that you went out and learned. And I think the recurring theme across all of this stuff is that you took the time and invested. You never compromise investing in you. You're like, I didn't have any money, but I bought this coach for $2,500. Like this mentor opportunity, like you took that. You're always trying to reinvest in yourself to like clear this next hurdle, whatever it is, or circumvent it altogether. I don't see, having a lot of these conversations with people, I don't hear a lot of that. of the investments that people make in themselves. And I think that there's a direct connection to, like you said, you want to be the category queen of BOFU. Like, I think you've achieved that. Like, every time I hear it or people talk about it, like, you are the name, like you are directly tethered to this idea. So I think you've achieved that through this, and you're already pushing. I mean, you've built a piece of like proprietary technology of an entire business and service line dedicated to this stuff. Like, it's pretty wild to think that it also came from, like I said, it's the villain of the story. It came from them saying you didn't know BOFU enough. You're like, no one's going to know this better than me now.
No, totally. And I love him, right? Like, he did not have to do that for me. I will always have a place in my heart for him. Like, we still talk to this day. Like, he's my guy. But at the time, of course, you can't see, like, why is this happening to me? Like, why does nothing ever work out the way I need it to work out? Like, I try harder probably than half the people that already work there. Like, why is nothing working out for me? And until 2 or 3 years later, you're like, ooh, okay, now I'm starting to see why it didn't work out. Because if it did work out, who knows if I would be doing this today? I wouldn't have had a reason to be like, you know what, let me break this down a little bit more simpler, because I would have understood it. So it's like, I would have just worked for them. And if I would have never got that denial, I wouldn't have found who I am today. You know what I mean? It's not rejection, it's redirection. If you are going through stuff, just try to think about 2 or 3 years from now, turn that pain into purpose. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, and again, like I told you before, it's like, that's why I want to be the best, because that pain, that's me turning that pain into purpose. That's that pain meaning something at the end of the day. Because I'd be damned if I sit and struggle for 10 years and then just say, well, fuck it, I give up. No, like, I've already been through the mental shit and all the depression and all the other stuff. I'm like, I might as well do some shit now.
Not getting that job is the best thing that ever happened to you.
It was. Career-wise, it is the single best thing that has ever happened to me. And I never worded it like that, but you are totally right.
That's kind of incredible. Like, I tell people, when I got laid off, like, you don't see it happening in the moment. In the moment, you're like, you get laid off and you're like, this sucks. But it was one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Like, it leads you to this place. I like this. I like that it's not rejection, it's redirection. I think that's a really healthy reframe. I like that a lot.
Everything is positioning.
True. That's true. Like, you got to say, hey, you got to the whole thing. I think the theme here is like, just you rewire your brain, reframe the thing, like, very much glass half full. That's the big thing here.
I'm a very glass half full type of person, because if I'm not, I'll drive myself insane. That's why I say you do have to have a certain level of delusion, even being an entrepreneur, because it requires for you to get your face beat in over and over and over and over, to the point where you start to question your sanity. Like, am I fucking crazy? Like, is this shit even worth it? But as somebody that's fresh out the struggle, it's 1,000% worth it. To be able to walk into a new house and see my kids run everywhere because they've never had a house this big before. Oh, it was worth every cry, every doubt, every I'm done with this shit, it was worth everything.
To see it show up in a way like you were able to move and get this house, like that, for it to manifest itself in that, and to see the kids, and for the kids to observe that, like, they see everything. They soak in everything. And I think what you said earlier is like, they see you at your worst, they deserve to see you at your best, but it's like, they also deserve to see someone work through something. You know what, my 3-year-old, this, talk about rewiring, like, this is it's a very real thing. They observe everything. And one time I said something, I was like, I can't do this. Like, I was like trying to do something, I couldn't do it. And I said I couldn't do it. And then for like a couple of weeks there, he's like walking around the house trying to do stuff, and he's always yelling that he can't do it. So I was like, we got to stop this. You can do anything. But the difference is that some things are just hard to do. And so next thing you know, he's trying to open a jar and he's like, I can't do it. I'm like, nah, dude, it's just hard to do. But like, you could do it. You'll figure it out. You can open this jar. Next thing you know, every time he's walking around the house doing stuff and he's like, this is really hard to do. And I'm like, that's the attitude, my man. Like, and for them to just like they soak up all that stuff. And so I think for them to see you do a hard thing and they observed that. And I think they not only now know that that's the process, like that's the expectation, is that you also have the privilege now to go out and do something hard. Like they're exposed to entrepreneurship in a really healthy way, not like a fake way. It's not like they were born into Jeff Bezos's family, got billions of dollars. Like they're exposed to entrepreneurship in a very real way, which is like, is a roller coaster of emotion.
That's so true, because they've seen us go from a not so safe neighborhood to a neighborhood that's a little bit better to one where we're looking around where it's like, you know what I mean? Like shit you see on Zillow, you know? So I'm just like, I think it's so important that they got to see that, because that lets them know, like, don't use race as an excuse just because I'm Black, just because I'm disabled, just because I'm this, just because I'm that. Like, don't use shit as an excuse. You've seen me do it, and you've seen me come from government assistance into a beautiful home. You know what I mean? Like just everything. Like this is for them. This is the best way to me that I can pay it forward for them, is to show them like in real time, this is how you take something and this is how you build a life from it. Here's how you manage your money. Here's how you do this. Here's how you do that. Like just the lessons in entrepreneurship. And it's crazy because I don't think about this as much as I should, but you saying it like brought it up. But you're totally right. Like this is the ultimate lesson that I could give them, because when it comes time for them to go work and they're like, well, mommy, I don't want to really, you know, I'm like, okay, well, first of all, I want to be able to have enough money for them to be able to do what they want. Let's talk about that, because I didn't have that privilege. You know what I mean? So it's like the motivation is very layered. There are multiple things that play into it, but you're totally right. I think this is like one of the best lessons that I can give and show to them, that if mommy can do it, and where she had 4 of you and she can make it work, you can make this work too. They're not coming from a place where I came from.
You set their starting point. Like you push them way far down the runway.
Yes, yes. And I think that's the job of a parent, right? To make sure your child has it better than you do. You know what I mean? Like they're not starting from abandoned houses and people on drugs walking up and down the street. And they're not starting from that. They're starting from, you know what I mean? From a place of peace, you know? And again, that's what the fight was for, the mental fight and all that. That it was for me and it was for them.
I'm excited to see how this pans out in like 20 years for your kids. But like, you know, there was no such thing as a BOFU content specialist. That wasn't a job title. You couldn't like apply for that job. You couldn't learn that skill. Like you created this space for you to live in, right? To build this career, you designed this niche and now you own it. To show them that it's like, well, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. It's like, you don't have to know. You get to just go, and if you want to go make some space in the world for the thing, go do it. Like you can do that. That is certainly an option versus like, oh, well, I'll just go. I mean, yeah, can you get a job? There's nothing wrong with going and get a job. That's totally fine. Go and do that. You can go learn a skill and go do a thing. I don't care what you want to do, but it's like you can also go create a thing and do that too.
If they want to go get a job, mommy will always support that. I will support whatever they want to do as long as it's not illegal. That we got to talk about.
Well, having kids, having kids does this weird thing because like failure is, I don't want to say failure. I want to say the things you will do to make shit work are very different. Like we talk about like how bad does it have to be to get you to act? Like how painful does it have to be to get you to push a little harder? I mean, that just having children changes your threshold and lowers it significantly. Like, I mean, when I got laid off, it was like my wife, we only had one kid at the time. He was 9 months. My wife worked for him. And it was like, we had a house and I was like, that's like, there's no time to sit here and try to apply for 1,000 jobs and compete with all these people to try and get, like, I need to go out and find the money because this little baby doesn't give a shit if like the fucking economy, like the baby doesn't know and baby doesn't care. Like the baby's hungry, like you need the diapers no matter what the situation is. And so 100% with you on that. I think there's a direct correlation to the kid situation, the volume, the number of children you have, and the things that people will do to try and like the level of ambition and success that they achieve.
They even shape how I do business now. So if it was just me, I could be on calls all day long. Like I can.
Oh yeah.
I can do it.
You would work 24 hours a day because you love working.
Oh yeah. If I didn't have kids, I'm just naturally a worker. I love to build things. I mean, I've got 4 kids. Obviously, I love to build things, but like I love to build stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, work is play, but
yes,
they don't allow me to work 24/7. They're not going to, like, when they want mommy to come out somewhere, mommy better get ready to go. So now I have to build a business around them and their needs, and me not being on a bunch of calls, and me being able to. So there's like a trickiness to that, but it's so awesome. Like once you get it up and it's running and it's built, it's like, because I'm not on a ton of calls, but I'm still able to do great work. Because honestly, I don't thrive on calls. I thrive when I'm by myself and I'm just deep in it and I'm thinking and I'm working and I'm building. That's when I thrive. But it also helps that they don't let me be on calls all day. They're not going to have that. So it's like, I totally get what you mean when you're like, you do what you have to do for them. But even when they start getting older and the demands start to raise a little, because when they're little, they don't have to.
I mean, they have plenty of demands.
True.
But do they change? They change. It's not, it's a different thing.
It changes as they get older, because my 11 and 12-year-olds demands are different than my 6 and 4-year-old, So it's like, it changes, but everything is still built around them and me spending time with them and being present with them. And it forces me to build a business, first of all, that I want to build, because I don't want to be on a bunch of calls all day. But you're totally right. Like, it just forces you to do things that you would not do if you did not have them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lashay, looking back, what's something you would have done differently?
I would have took care of myself better. My mental health, honestly, because I was one of those, I got to sit here until I figure it out. Like, I'm not going outside. I'm not taking a walk. I'm not, I would have took care of myself better. I would have not focused on the how and focused on the why. Okay, what do I want to do? Why do I want to do it? Okay, now let me just take one foot in front of the other and figure it out. I was very obsessed with the how. And it's weird because as entrepreneurs, we are builders. We do want to be in the mix. We do want to know how, but it's weird because you got to kind of let that go a little bit. It's so crazy because the stuff that you want, you hold it so tightly that it runs away from you. And when you ease up off of it a little bit, it comes to you, So it's like, I definitely would have just took care of myself better mentally and just trusted the process and understand that the destination can be the same, but the path is fluid. You don't know how you're going to get to where you're going to get to. So even for me, real quick, like running a consultancy that's like where I don't have to hire a ton of people, and I didn't know how I was going to get there. And I thought I was going to get there one way, and that was not the way that I got there. Actually, I fell flat on my face in 2024, could not sell shit in 2024. But again, I had to go through that in order to get to a point today where I'm like, okay, business is picking up. Like, it's looking good. I'm in a category. It's my category. You know what I mean? The destination will be the destination, but the pathway is fluid. Just knowing that and understanding that and leaning into it.
I was going to make a really corny 1,000 routes joke, but I'm just going to leave it. What's next for you? What do you want to build that you haven't built yet?
I don't know how long this is going to last, but I'm getting into software. But I'm going to do it differently. I'm not going to take any money from VCs or anything like that. Like, I'm bootstrapping every fucking thing. Like, I'm essentially becoming my own VC. So for context, I started Authority Plug in 2023. And that was the consultancy. But then like, I just burned everything to the ground because I'll be like, you know what? This is cool, but it's not exactly what I want. So I'm burning this shit down. And now BOFU.ai is the consultancy. Authority Plug is going to be the holding company, or the VC, if you will, where it's going to be a bunch of smaller companies under one roof. So what I'm working on right now is the consultancy, just getting that to a place where it's good, and then branch off and like do other things, because I have so many ideas. the problem isn't ideas. The problem is, how do I monetize this stuff is the problem. But I love building. Like I can't, it brings me so much joy to build. So I think what's next for me is just, just continuing to be a force in the space. I want to public speak more, and I want to do more things in person. I want to create more, just build more. Because I've been able to build a consultancy over the past 2 years, but I haven't been able to deeply build how I want to build. Like I want to build free tools for people and just give birth to everything that I'm thinking of. Like that's what I want to do.
I respect it. I appreciate it. Giving back. You want to give back. You're like, I've learned a lot. And I think you said this a few times. You don't want other people to kind of go through what you did, that you don't want them to lose something for not knowing. And so I think this is really seeing that through at a volume that is going to make a massive difference. So I appreciate you, Lashay.
Thank you so much, Nick, for having me. I'm so excited to have had this talk. It was such a great talk. I hope your audience finds value from this. And just, it was amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for jamming with me. I'll tell you, I know for a fact, I know more people feel seen on their own route because of it. So I appreciate you.
Thank you, Nick.
What would be your last meal on earth?
Definitely something pasta. Like I'm a carby girl, like some pasta, something. Can I choose the location too? Is it just food? Can I choose where I eat it at?
Yeah, you can choose anything you want. There are no rules.
Some type of like Alfredo something with seafood. Like I love seafood. So maybe like lobster tail, some Alfredo in the middle of Greece somewhere, just overlooking some type of big body of water. Just, oh yeah. And it's funny because I didn't think I'd be able to quickly reference that, but oh yes, definitely somewhere overseas with some sort of pasta meal with some sort of like seafood for sure.
Okay, big bowl of pasta with some seafood. I can get down with that.
Yeah.
What's the seafood? Are you like put some shrimp in there, or are you like put some clams in there? I guess Alfredo. Like I don't know what seafood goes in.
Yeah, shrimp, lobster, crabs. Like I'm from Maryland, and anybody.
Oh, okay. You want something with a shell?
Give me basically. Give me something with the shell. Give me like some Old Bay seasoning. Let me swirl it around a little bit. Give me like a piece of like garlic bread, soft, not hard.
Not that crispy garlic bread.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Give me some garlic
that Texas
bread.
toast bullshit. You want some like real.
No, I don't want Texas toast. Right.
All right. I like it. I'm in. Look, when you're going to leave Earth and you're going to take that trip to Greece and eat that big bowl of Alfredo with all that shellfish in it, you hit me up. I'm coming. I'm there. I'm with you.
Oh, hell yeah. You already know it.